السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم. We give thanks to Almighty Allah, we glorify His name. We ask for Allah's mercies and blessings upon the noble Prophet Muhammad, his household and his companions. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us beneficial knowledge and to benefit us with what we learn. Ameen. Welcome to another episode of our Islamic marriage series. In this episode, we shall be examining what is called marriage proposal or al-khitbatu. The marriage proposal is one step close to marriage itself. It is a step that occurs between a man and a woman, where the man proposes to the woman and they begin to talk and get to know one another. This step is a very important step because this is the step where both parties decide and agree on whether they want to get into marriage together or not. However, there are some marriage proposals that are invalid and forbidden. We shall be talking about those today. There are 5 different kinds of women that one should never propose marriage to or get into talks with about marriage. Number 1 is an already married woman, a currently married woman in a valid marriage contract. It is forbidden to propose marriage to such a woman, whether in an obvious manner or in a conspicuous manner or inconspicuous or by signs or by speech or by body language. In any ways, one should never propose marriage to an already married woman in a current and valid contract of marriage. This is especially forbidden in the Quran in Surah An-Nisa verse 24, that is Surah chapter 4 verse 24, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and part of those that are forbidden for you, وَالْمُحْصَنَاتُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ, part of those that are forbidden for you are the already married women. إِلَّا مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ كِتَابَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ. This is the command of Allah upon you, that you do not, it is forbidden upon you to get into talks with them, because talking about marriage or giving any signs of wanting to marry someone is one step close to marriage. And having such talks with a married woman is forbidden because that is getting too close and encroaching on another man's right, which is the man in a marriage contract already with that woman. People do this today in different ways. When you are having alone time with a married woman, this is forbidden for you. When you're talking about marriage or having intimate talks or time spent together with a married woman, this is forbidden. The second category of women that it is forbidden to have talks about marriage with or marriage proposal to are women who are in their iddah period. The iddah period is the period that is a transition period between marriage and divorce, or between marriage and being it is a period of staying at home for a person who is getting a divorce or for a person whose husband has died. When a woman is between this period, it is forbidden to ask them for marriage. But there are conditions attached to this. For the woman whose husband died, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 234 to 235 talks about وَالَّذِينَ يُتَوَفَّوْنَ مِنْكُمْ وَيَذَرُونَ أَزْوَاجًا يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ أَرْبَعَةَ أَشْهُرٍ وَعَشْرًا. And for those of you who die and leave behind wives, those women would seclude themselves. They will stay at home for a transition period of 4 months and 10 days. 4 months and 10 days. This is the period of seclusion or of staying at home for a woman whose husband has died. After this period, she is then free to get married or to do whatever she chooses. She can choose not to get married. She can choose to get married. But she has to wait 4 months and 10 days before she can move on from the previous marriage where her husband just died. Now, while she is within this period, which is called the idda period, no man should be obvious in asking them for marriage. Now, the scholar said a man can ask them for marriage, can propose marriage to them, but it has to be conspicuous. It has to be non-direct. An example that was given as a way that a man can ask them for marriage is to say, for example, when a man says to a woman who is in an idda period from having lost her husband, is to say, oh, I am planning to get married. He's not asking her for marriage. He's talking about himself. That, oh, and I'm planning to get married soon. I hope to get married soon. So by saying that, the woman knows that you're looking, you're not directly asking her, but you have given her you have given her a sign that you're looking and you're seeking to get married soon. Another way to say it or to propose to such a woman without being direct is to say, my prayer to Allah is to give me a good woman. This is also giving her a sign that you are looking, you are searching. But it is not allowed for a person to directly ask her to say, marry me, while she is still during that iddah period. For the iddah period of a person who is getting a divorce, a woman who is getting a divorce, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Al-Baqarah verse 228, Allah says, وَالْمُطَلَّقَاتُ يَتَرَبَّصْنَ بِأَنفُسِهِنَّ ثَلَاثَةَ قُرُوءٍ. For the woman who has been divorced, she would observe an iddah period, she would observe this transition period where she stays behind and she does not move on to marry another person for 3 months. Only after these 3 months is she free to move on, marry another person if she chooses or not. But then she is free from her current marriage contract. And it is only then that a person can ask them for marriage. While a divorced woman is within her iddah period of 3 months, no one, every man is forbidden from asking them for marriage, whether directly, indirectly, conspicuously, inconspicuously, by speech or by action. In no way should anyone ask them for marriage while they are still within that iddah period for divorce. Why is that? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made room for the husband who has divorced her to bring her back. Where Allah said, وَلِبُؤُولَتُؤُنَّ أَحَقُّ بِرَدِّئِنَّ إِنْ أَرَادَ إِصْلَاحًا. That the husband has a right to return her into the home if they both agree to make amends. The third category of women that it is forbidden to ask for marriage or to propose marriage to are the women who have already accepted the proposal of another brother. A Muslim brother has already asked a sister out, has already proposed marriage to the sister. The sister has accepted to marry the Muslim brother. Another Muslim brother cannot go and propose to that same sister. Every other Muslim brother have to steer clear of that Muslim sister. This would ensure that there is no bad blood or enmity amongst brothers. Because say, for example, a brother has proposed to a sister and the sister has accepted to marry this brother. And then another brother comes along and confuses that sister into changing her mind and dropping the first brother and then, choosing him over that first brother. There's going to be bad blood between the first and the second brother. And in Islam, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-mu'min akhul mu'min. La yahillu lahu an yabta'a ala bay'i akhi." That a mu'min, a believer, is the brother of a believer. Brothers should have one another's backs, right? The Prophet said it is not permissible for a Muslim brother, a believer, to buy a merchandise that his brother already paid for. So a brother already paid for a merchandise. Another Muslim brother should not go and negotiate on that same merchandise to outbid his brother. He has to let it go, let his brother have it because he got there first. وَلَا يَخْطَبُ عَلَى خِطْبَةِ أَخِيهِ. And it is not permissible for a believer to propose over the proposal of his brother. When a believer already, a believing brother already proposed to a woman and the woman already accepted his proposal, another Muslim brother should not propose to the same woman to avoid conflict, to avoid trouble and problems between the two brothers, because the ties of brotherhood of Islam has to be protected, it has to be preserved, and this kind of things can endanger such ties. The fourth category of women that it is forbidden to ask for marriage or to propose to are the women who are disbelievers or women of the mushrikun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forbade marrying such women. And because it is forbidden to marry them, it is by extension forbidden to ask them for marriage or to propose to them to begin with. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَلَا تَنْكِئُوا الْمُشْرِكَاتِ حَتَّى يُؤْمِنَّ. And do not marry the idol-worshipping women حَتَّى يُؤْمِنَّ, until they believe, until they accept the faith of Islam. وَلَأَمَةٌ مُؤْمِنَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن مُشْرِكَةٍ وَلَوْ أَعْجَبَتْكُمْ. And indeed, a servant, a believing servant, a servant who is a Muslim, a slave who is a Muslim, who is a believer, is better for you than an idol-worshipping female. Even if that idol-worshipping female is so beautiful and so loving to you, even if she is your choice, but the fact that she is into idol-worshipping, to choose a slave woman, a slave believing woman over her is even better for you. So it is forbidden to marry an idol worshipping woman. Either she is worshipping idols in using from one of these idol worshipping religion, or she is an atheist. So either atheists or idol worshippers, forbidden for Muslim men to marry and by extension to propose marriage to them. The fifth category of women that it is forbidden to get married to or to propose marriage to are the women that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listed in Surah An-Nisa verse 22 to 24. A list of women that Allah listed in Surah chapter 4 verse 22 to 24. These women are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, حُرِمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ أُمَّآتُكُمْ, your mothers, وَبَنَاتُكُمْ, and your daughters, وَأَخَوَاتُكُمْ, your sisters, وَأَمَّاتُكُمْ, and your maternal aunts, وَخَالَاتُكُمْ, your paternal and maternal aunts, وَبَنَاتُ الْأَخْ, and your niece, وَبَنَاتُ الْأُخْتِ, and your niece as well, your niece from your brother or your niece from your sister, وَأُمَّآتُكُمُ اللَّاتِي أَرْضَعْنَكُمْ, and your wet nurse or anyone that breastfed you, وَأَخَوَاتُكُمْ مِنَ الرَّضَاعَةِ, and anyone that fed from the same breast as you, وَأُمَّآتُ نِسَائِكُمْ, and your mother-in-laws, وَرَبَائِبُكُمُ اللَّاتِي فِي حُجُورِكُمْ مِن نِسَائِكُمُ اللَّاتِي دَخَلْتُمْ بِإِنَّ, and your stepdaughter from your wife with whom you have consummated your marriage. So if your wife that you have consummated marriage with had a daughter before marrying you, the daughter that she has outside of your marriage is forbidden upon you. فَإِن لَمْ تَكُونُوا دَخَلْتُمْ بِهِنَّ, but if your wife that has this stepdaughter, if you have not consummated marriage with her, فَلَا جُنَاهَ عَلَيْكُمْ, you can marry that stepdaughter that comes from her. You can marry a daughter because you have not consummated marriage with her. وَحَلَائِلُ أَبْنَائِكُمُ الَّذِينَ مِنْ أَصْلَابِكُمْ, and the wives of your children that came from you. وَأَن تَجْمَعُوا بَيْنَ الْأُخْتَيْنِ, and to marry two sisters together, this is also forbidden. إِلَّا مَا قَدْ سَلَفَ, except for that which has passed, before the revelation was made, before the law was sent down to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. All of these women are forbidden to men to marry, and by extension, it is forbidden upon men to propose marriage to such women. Now, so these are the women that it is forbidden to propose marriage to. It is forbidden to get married to them, and by extension, it is forbidden to propose marriage to them. Because the marriage proposal in Islam is a very serious step, again, the one that is expected to lead to marriage. So it is taken as seriously as if one is engaging in the contract already, because this is the step where the permission, the consent of the woman that is going to get married is being sought. The man is seeking a consent at this stage. And so this is a stage that is very important, that is taken very seriously. So, brothers and sisters, let us be mindful about the women in our lives, about the women that we're asking for marriage, and make sure that they do not fall into any of these categories. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our acts of ibadah, grant us goodness in this life and in the hereafter. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته